Pals, and there's also therapy too.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Park Pals, the first one of 2025. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to whatever you celebrated or did not celebrate, but we're in January now, so welcome on in. Maddie is not with me today because she has a family thing that she is going to, and it's an event. It's a happy thing, I think, so that's good. It's nothing crazy. So she'll be back with me next week, but we do have Season 5, Episode 13 ready to go, ready to rock and roll. We have a lot to talk about. I mostly just have deleted scenes, just as a heads up. Some of our Park Pals couldn't get back to me super fast, which I totally understand. I didn't give them a ton of time. I never really do, to be honest. So that's why I'm always shocked and amazed and surprised and grateful when they do get back to me so quickly / at all. So I get it. Also, the Golden Globes is tonight, so hopefully, yikes, hopefully everything goes okay. I don't know. All right. Well, if you're new here, my name's Holly Constant. Maddie Hockaday usually joins me, but like I said, she's got stuff going on, so she'll join me for the next one. We are on Season 5, Episode 13, Emergency Response. This was written by Norm Hiscock and Joe Mandy. Oh my gosh, we love this team so much. Norm, we have actually interviewed before. He is such a great hang and so knowledgeable, and I email him frequently about random questions that I have. He always sends great answers when I ask him things. And he sends stuff back quickly too, which is so nice. He does not have to do that, and it's just so lovely. Also, we know him from Kids in the Hall fame, and of course, just such a huge backbone of Parks and a ton of other awesome comedy things. We love Norm. He's so nice and so great. And then this was also written by Joe Mandy, who makes cameos frequently, but I don't actually know if he's come on as a cameo yet. But he has, I think. He's one of the Lurpuses. And if you are new here, again, the Lurpus family is a Pawnee institution of a family, and we've met many of them, and many of the Lurpus families are writers. Not all of them, but many of them are writers who make appearances. Dave King is one. And a bunch of others. I won't get into all of it. But Joe Mandy, the one who wrote this episode with Norm, is the one that the bailiff kicks out of stuff all the time because he's always on his phone and making comments. And he's like a super internet aficionado person. And there's this episode with the movie store, remember, where he's like, I can just watch Iron Man 2 right now. Like, I'm literally watching it on my phone. And then he gets kicked out. Everything's online. Like, I can literally just get anything online. So that was Joe Mandy. He's also a huge writer on Hacks on HBO, which is so great. Highly recommend. Can't wait for that to come out with a new season. And he also makes a cameo on that as well. And you might recognize Joe from Modern Family. He was the assistant to Claire and Jay at the Closet Company. And then he starts dating Alex, Claire's daughter. So he actually, it's really funny because on the podcast, Parks and Recollection, he was on that one. And he says he had to actually ask Mike Schur to leave work early to audition for Modern Family, and they didn't anticipate that his role would be, more than an episode or two. So he was missing days there, but then he also got on The Good Place, or was missing episodes of The Good Place, like as a writer, to go be an actor on Modern Family. So he's actually one of the ones that is mostly both, because there are actors I feel who, writers I feel who kind of just were almost dragged into acting. And not as this, like, I think of Toby on The Office. I don't think he wanted to act. He never acts like he wanted to be an actor, but they just told him to because it was so great. But I think Joe Mandy was actually both and wanted to do both. At least that's the impression I got, especially if you're auditioning for stuff and wanting to be on the camera instead of Mike Schur or Greg Daniels just being like, hey, you're a writer, go be on the show. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so that was really cool. Fun facts. And he also, this is a fun fact as well, that he made Tom's fake phone when Tom had to go on the Twitter/internet phone detox or whatever. And he has this like really sad fake phone. It was like a bunch of note cards just like stapled together. Joe Mandy made that because they, like, as an experiment, Mike Schur had them all not be on their phones to like see what Tom's head space would be like. And Joe Mandy made this phone because he is also addicted to the internet. So that's fun. And then this was also directed by Dean Holland, who we know and love not only from Parks, but obviously from The Office and a billion other wonderful, amazing things. We love Dean so much. One of these days I'd love to chat with him because, again, if you're new here, he's a huge backbone of why The Office looked the way that it did and was edited the way that it was, with all the quick cuts and fast direction and like new scenes immediately, that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to see him direct so much more in this season and in last season, but it's really cool because I can't imagine, obviously, because you can see it, but it'd be really cool. I think it's just really cool to see as a fan how an editor transitioned into the directing and all that kind of stuff and how those two skill sets really blend together. So that's really awesome. So great work for Dean. All right, so since Maddie couldn't join us, I will go ahead and play her summary, and we'll get on right into it.
Hello there. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm so sad that I'm not there for this episode today because it's one of my absolute favorites. But here I am with the summary. Chaos is ready to take over Pawnee. Ben, Leslie, and the Parks Department put on a black tie gala to raise the remaining funds for their park. But on the day of the event, Jam orchestrates an emergency response drill, taking Leslie, Ann, and Chris out of planning. The Parks Department takes over planning, and Ron takes over Pawnee today. Meanwhile, Andy prepares to take his police exam. I love this episode for many different reasons. I think one of the big ones is just Leslie taking what Jam does to her in stride, and she doesn't throw a fit. She doesn't lash out to him. She goes, "Cool, I'm gonna do what's best for my team and what's best for my Parks Department and what I'm trying to do, and I'm not gonna get nasty about it." And she just, overplays him. So I think it's wonderful. And the other piece of it is just watching the entire Parks Department say, okay, Leslie's not here. We're going to do everything in our power to make her proud of us. And I just love that. So those are some of my main reasons that I love this episode. And this next episode that follows is even better. So I'm very excited to hear all the conversation around this one and any voice memos that were sent in. And I will be there on the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maddie. Can't wait till you are back and we can do this together. All right. So getting into the episode, we are starting with the Pawnee Commons Planning Committee. Leslie, in true Leslie fashion, has a really long presentation, including an acronym. We love our acronyms, where she says the park is dynamite. But she says it like dynamite and not dynamite, which isn't really important, but I just mentioned it anyway. D is for daring, Y is for youth-friendly, N is for natural, A is for amazing, M is merry, I inviting, T tourist attraction-y, and E is eco-friendly. Which, of course, she's very thorough, as the committee guy says, and dumb old Jam is there as well to have his presentation. Mary Faber, our Catherine Pinewood gal, is not in here, which I guess they just didn't need to have that as an extra person in there, I guess, but it would have been cool to see both of them. But anyway, Jam is the one that's leading this presentation, and his presentation is just serving them Paunch Burger because that's what he wants to turn the lot into, and he's not a hard worker, so he doesn't need to really give any other effort apart from showing them what Paunch Burger tastes like. And they all know that. They all love it. Even Anne sneaks a fry, which Leslie catches, and it's terrible, and I hate him. But moving on. Also, this is random, but I really like Leslie's shirt. Actually, all of her shirts in this one, I feel. This is her fashion moment, I feel, this episode, where I feel like she's really leaning into the, fashionable but nice and not super, like, oh gosh, I don't know how to explain it. He's just like very businesswoman. She looks like a businesswoman who also knows how to dress herself really well. So I really appreciated that. Okay. Lard Bombs is the name of the burger. Gross. And she's not editorializing. They are actually called that. Leslie asks who they're leaning toward, who the committee's leaning toward as far as Jam versus her, and the committee member says he is leaning toward Jam's, even though he knows Leslie's is better, but we learn that Leslie is $50,000 short for her project, and if you get and he says, if you get the rest of the money, you get the park. I know it's better for the community. I know it's the better choice, but we can't, approve an underfunded project. That's just so much money to raise. $50,000. That's so much money. Oh my God. I can't imagine it. But we do it in one episode somehow, which is great. Anyhow, so the guy who plays this committee member is played by Jim Hanna. He's been in so many things. His IMDb is long, which is great. Great work. He's been in General Hospital, Hacked, which is a crossover with one of our writers, Hacks, not Hacked. I don't know why I wrote that. Maybe that was autocorrect, but it's Hacks. And he was, which of course is the crossover with Joe Mandy, like I was talking about, who wrote this episode. And Jim Hanna was also in Palm Royale on Apple TV with Kristen Wiig. You guys should definitely watch. Carol Burnett's also in it. Reboot, which is a great show. I mean, there were a lot of ones, but those are the ones that really stuck out to me because I just love those shows. So anyhow, great work. Now we're at Macy's because we're registering for Leslie and Ben's wedding, which is super exciting. I feel like we haven't super talked about the wedding that much, but maybe it's just because of the Christmas break, because I guess we did technically have the catering moment. So anyhow, I love Tom's line, love fades away, but things are forever. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Did the Dalai Lama say that? Side note, Macy's did pay to be on the show. That's great. Helps with the budget for this episode, which is lovely. So go Macy's, but also like not really go Macy's, but more of like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Anyhow. So Leslie says that she doesn't want anything for the registry except to be married to Ben and the money for the park. That's really all she wants. And I love this in this episode when Leslie kind of says these offhanded things thinking that it's not really going to happen. This is just like a dream / a wish that she wants. And Ben really turns it into reality / figures out a way to make this happen. Like, what are the real logistical steps we could take to make whatever you just said offhandedly come true? And I really love that. There is a deleted scene actually, which is kind of nice, but I understand why they cut it, but it is nice. This deleted scene says that she wants to invite the entire town and some other political people. So that's where that line comes from at the end of the episode when he says, like, you did want to invite the entire town, which, spoiler alert, the gala turns into another event. And she said, it's funny because Tom is like, how many people are you expecting? And Leslie says, 25,000 people at the same time that Ben says like 100. And oh my gosh, just what a change. What a change. But yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning because they bring it up at the end of the show, how she wants to invite the entire town. And that's why I get why they cut it, because it's Leslie. Of course she'd want the entire town and everybody she possibly could think of to be there. Okay, so then we get an excellent show, like I said, of why they're married or why they're getting married and they're each other's person because, Ben says that they could, quote, register for the park. They have a black tie gala, people donate, they can bid to put their names on things. They can really do this and raise the money that they need to get this project off the ground once and for all. And they immediately leave to get to work. And I love that Leslie, said that offhandedly, and he was like, yeah, we could do that. It's great. So next we see that it's 1 week later. They have a little title card showing that it's 1 week later, and the parks crew is planning at the pit / well, it's not the pit anymore, but at the lot. And Leslie is kind of, rallying the troops, saying everything that needs to be done. And this line of, she tells them to applaud, but then she says it's premature because they still have so much to do. And I just love this line of like, well, if I told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? I hope so, because that's the only way we're going to do this. It's lovely. Tom still needs to contact 3 more food vendors for the gala, and they need to do it for free, which is a rough ask, but also not impossible. I've worked on many a volunteer committee where you've got to get stuff for free because there's no other way to raise money. It has to be like, we'll put your name on, the bulletin or the program or whatever it is so that we can get the money. And your name is really the thing that sticks out. So that's kind of the exchange that you're making. I do love that he is doing all of these food puns. I'm omelet, like on it, which is great. All right. So then we get this like crazy moment where a cop car shows up and Chris runs out and says like, we need Leslie back at the city hall, like there's a class 1 city emergency. And he says it so convincingly as far as like people think it's real. Okay. Jerry thinks that it's very real and immediately thinks about his wife and kids and is like, oh my God, Gail, girls, and immediately starts running after them. But then we learn, which, by the way, I think is very sweet. I think it's very precious that Jerry immediately thinks of his family. It's so darling. But then we learn it's just a drill. And each year, every city is reviewed by the Department of City Preparedness, and they have failed 12 years in a row. But Leslie, and first I was like, why doesn't anyone else have to go? I mean, I know Anne is in there too, but like, why doesn't anyone else need to go? And then, we learn their roles. Like Leslie's the emergency czar, and Anne is obviously the health department. So she has to be involved in the drill as well. And I'm guessing, because I didn't really think about it until the end, but I'm guessing that this is maybe Leslie's first year as the city preparedness czar, emergency czar, because she would have passed all of those if she had the binders. Like, maybe it's because she got into city council and then now she's taking over. You know what I mean? Because why have they failed 12 years in a row if she was on their team? You know what I'm saying? So I cannot see a world in which they failed when Leslie was in charge. Apart from, obviously, spoiler alert, her tanking the town. So that's just food for thought. Okay. Then we see, oh my gosh, Leslie goes to, with Chris back to City Hall, and poor Jerry falls down and trips, and everyone is like, it's fine. He'll figure it out. It's, like, should we tell Jerry? No, he'll figure it out. No worries there. All right, so now we're at the police department, and we are learning that Andy has to take his police test to get into the, police force. And I love that line, too, that they do a written exam and then a personality exam. And he says, which I feel like I'm going to nail because people always say, but he has a great personality. And he doesn't get that it's kind of an insult in a way, but they're trying to be nice at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, dear. But he is really studying on this. He really knows his stuff. April quizzes him, and he says he remembers the 35-42 by 35 assault shakers and 42 batteries, because it's assault and battery for that code. And I love that April's being so supportive. It's so sweet to see. I love that she is really just on board with his dream. It's really lovely. And speaking of which, she got a dead rabbit to have as a good luck charm, which is really good writing, I feel, for April's part to be kind of creepy. Because typically the feet are the good luck charm, not the whole rabbit with the feet cut off, And I love that Andy loves it. Baby, you're so creepy. I love it. It's very darling. And, there is a deleted scene where Andy comes back after the written test, and he's finished early. He feels like he totally nailed it. He's super confident in himself, and he gives April the bunny back, but with devil horns made out of gum and the number 666 on the side because he had extra time. So he was just like, doing extra things, trying to keep himself busy. And she's like, Satan bunny, yay, so cute. And I don't know. I feel like that runner is just so them. You know what I mean? Like, they're so different, but they really love each other and find ways to, like, have things in common and like the same things. That's really darling. I know I'm saying darling a lot, but it's true. Okay. I also, side note, I looked up why rabbit feet are good luck, and they say it's because rabbits are associated with renewal and fertility, which sort of makes sense because, they always say that they're multiplying like rabbits or doing it like rabbins or whatever. So that would make sense that fertility, renewal, rebirth, all that kind of stuff goes with it. Gamblers and hunters apparently always use them too because of good luck, but I didn't really see where it said it was started or what it's actually based on. I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to a dead animal bringing me good luck, but if it was from my partner, like April gives to Andy, I feel like that would just be the thought that counts, and that would give me good luck. But, to each their own, as long as we're not killing the rabbit just to make that good luck charm. I think most are fake anyway, nowadays anyway, you know what I mean? I feel like when I was a kid, I used to see them, honestly. But again, like I said, they were fake, I hope. But anyway, there are a ton of, there's just a ton of superstitions. I know some of you guys don't care about this, so you can skip ahead if you need to, but there are a ton of superstitions with this. And like, for one example is the rabbit has to die on the full moon in order for the feet / whatever you're using from the rabbit to be good luck, or it has to be shot with a silver bullet. There's this other thing I found. This is one of the last things that I found, that it said it may originate from something called the hand of glory, which is the dried and pickled hand of a hanged man, often specified as the left hand. If the person was hanged for murder, that hand, did the deed. This was in the 1700s. And then somehow it switched to like a rabbit, like the pickled hand was good luck or whatever, and now the rabbit's hand / foot is good luck. And I didn't go into much further of a deep dive because I was like, why would I be researching this? This is enough. You know what I mean? Like, that's enough. That's good. There is a song called Rabbit Foot Blues, which is a blues song by Blind Lemon Jefferson, is this guy's name, that links the rabbit's foot tradition with the bones of the dead. So, bones, feet, that kind of situation. It's all weird and doesn't really make sense, and is not based in scientific fact, but luck isn't really anyway. So, in case you cared about any of that, that's for you. All right, we're moving on. Now we are working on the preparedness test with the emergency response. The guy who is from the department, Leonard, is played by Matt Walsh, who has been in just so many things, but he's one of the OG Upright Citizens Brigade people, UCB improv team that Amy Poehler also helped originate. And if you watch Elf this season, you've definitely seen him because he's at the end with the reporter, when they're seeing Santa in the park and he basically hits on her. I think the reporter's name is Charlotte or something. And he's like, well, Charlotte, blah, 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 blah. I'd like to talk about this, Charlotte. And it's just really funny. So you'll have to go back and watch that because he's in there. But he's in so many other things. I just, you guys know. Okay. So Leslie says, any other time I would be so prepared to take this test, but this just so happens that this is a super inconvenient time. This is not the best time. And he's like, good. It's better when it's inconvenient. And you know what? And it's inconvenient for me too because my mom's having a colonoscopy and I don't even know if there's anyone to pick her up. And oh my God, hilarious. I mean, not really hilarious in the grand scheme of things, if in reality, but it's still great. And as far as writing goes, because she's like, I'm sorry about your mom. And he's like, whatever, we're not even that close. So it's not really that inconvenient for him. Okay. Anyhow, there are volunteer victims, first responders. I love his acting here this comedy moment of the stimulation can't start right away because the clock went past 0. So he's like, and the clock starts. Oh, went past 0. And then they have to wait. I love Leslie's line too of maybe this is a nightmare. And then she tries to fly away and it's like, nope, can't fly away. This is real life. So the disaster that they have talked about, / been hit with in this simulation is the avian flu, which is very ironic because we have a bird flu situation going on right now. A lot of eggs have been recalled. A lot of chicken has been recalled. You guys, be careful. A lot of the listeria stuff is happening as well. So that's kind of wild. And also it's a wild vibe too, because us having been through 2020, you're watching this and you're just like, oh my God, this is an actual response situation that would need to be practiced. This is an actual emergency. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So we're dealing with the avian flu. Leslie says it's super simple. She has a whole binder called Mission Impossible. Great work on that name. Love it so much. Leslie has made a whole DVD laying out this scenario. This brings in her lovely sketch vibes and her total ability and capability and skill set of playing different characters and probably helping with the vibes of these characters. She's playing all these different townspeople. All of them have different accents. Leslie herself, I love this writing too, and I'm sure Amy had a lot to do with this too, where the mic is supposed to be pointing in the direction of the person she's interviewing it, but it's her hand, so she almost has a film vibe going on with it. Of that she understands the continuity. She understands how it's supposed to look. There was that one scene too where I know people in TikTok do this because they have behind the scenes and stuff when they're filming by themselves. Leslie would have crushed it at TikTok. Okay. Leslie and Amy Poehler currently is crushing it, but I feel like they're crushing it in two different ways because Leslie absolutely could have done all these characters that she does for the avian flu DVD, and she catches the paper, she throws the paper up and then catches it as if someone's throwing it at her. Oh, it's just so beautiful and so cute. And Amy Poehler on TikTok is doing dances and fun lip sync vibes with Maya Rudolph and all the other girlies and Aubrey Plaza and all these other, and Rashida, of course, which is beautiful. Love it so much. But all that to say, Leslie would have definitely crushed TikTok. I didn't even think of that. But anyway, moving on. Oh yeah, Donatella Breckenridge is the doctor's name, which I love. I'm a medical doctor, so I know what I'm talking about. I can't do the accent. It's so good though. Well, so now Ben is running the gala. Donna says the table showed up, but not the chairs. So she has to go find some chairs, and I just love that. We'll talk. I mean, I don't need to mention it later. I'll just bring it up now, where she says like, "I found one chair, got to lean on another." Donna's wonderful. And then Ron says he'll go on Pawnee today to promote the gala, but Ben is like, I don't know if you'll be great on TV, like, no offense. But then Ron kind of throws in his face that he can speak in full sentences and he won't cry, which Ben definitely did. And Ben is like, fair point. I love Ben's look to camera of like, damn, like that was a little painful, but true. And Tom is now going to all the restaurants, trying to kiss ass with this chef, this French restaurant that he is trying to get to cater the gala, and the chef is just not having it. Like, he doesn't care that Paunchberger is, going to be in there because that's not really a competitor for his French restaurant. He says it doesn't make business sense to cater something that large for free, and he just doesn't want to do it. And the chef is played by Peter Allen Vogt. Oh, God. I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to say Peter. Okay, the chef is played by Peter, and he's been in a ton of things as well. Hannah Montana, Princess Diaries 2, American Horror Story, like so many things. He's also a writer, so well done on that. And I loved Peter's sassy portrayal, like, and even like mean almost at the end, because Tom is like still giving him shit, kind of like, and I mean, nice try, Tom. Solid effort, I guess, for trying to get like some sort of, I don't know, sassy moment himself, like when he's like, well, you know what, because he crosses him off the list, and I guess he's like, well, I got nothing left to lose. And then this chef is like, what do you got for me? And then he tries to, and then he just runs away. Tom takes a shot, but it backfires. So that's all I'm gonna say. I love that scene. I think it's funny. So now Leslie is talking to animal control, and she is saying to eradicate all the infected birds. And Brett, who is played by Colton Dunn, who is also on Superstore, a ton of other things, is most definitely thinking that she's saying to kill all the birds for real, not just for the drill. And Leslie is like kind of having, I love her little face kind of when she's like, no, don't kill the birds, but kill them, right? So that's going well, clearly. And then now Leonard is saying that, oh no, Chris Traeger has started exhibiting symptoms of the avian flu because, oh my God, he apparently, hypothetically, he is infected because hypothetically he rode the bus and got infected that way, and no one shut down transit. And it's great that Chris is saying that, he's right, that even if it was a hypothetical, he would have gone off the deep end a couple of episodes ago. But now he's so much more secure about it because of therapy. And I just love that. I want to look at that. I want to save that as a GIF or something when he like thumbs up with his little like infected sticker or placard, whatever thing, and is like, therapy. I love that. Therapy's great. Highly recommend. So now we learn that stupid old Jam is the reason why Chris hypothetically was infected, because he didn't shut down the transit and he was in charge of transportation. So he absolutely ruined it, and I hate that. All right, so now we're on Pawnee today. We are seeing Ron try to go promote the gala, and Joan Calamezzo, aka Mo Collins, our fave, is absolutely hungover from a booze cruise. She's got her hair messed up, sunglasses on, but she says it's allergies, and I just love that she always finds that excuse. She said allergies, and then when she was drunk from Tom and Ben's moment, she says she ate some bad seafood, like all that kind of stuff. Joan tries to start the show because she's like, the show must go on, and she just immediately stops because of course she's hungover and she cannot continue. Today's show will not go on. But Ron goes on anyway, and he does a great job explaining everything. And he's taking a phone call because Jim Kabernick, who you'll remember from the first Pawnee Today appearance, and also when Diane and the girls go trick-or-treating after Halloween, and he gives them cookie dough and calcium juice. That's Jim, who is played by Kenny Stevenson, and he's always done a great job about sending in voice memos and sending in emails and things with all of his fun anecdotes and fun facts and stuff. So he'll send us that. Like I said, I don't think I gave enough time to literally anyone to give me voice memos. So I'll definitely play them in the next episode if they're given. And I know Kenny will. Well, hopefully I didn't just jinx that, but I know he will, or at least he'll want to. So great job, Kenny, on that part. And I gotta say, Joan / Mo Collins does a fantastic job in this episode of physical comedy. Like all the planking, her legs being splayed, or only her legs showing. Like when she's on the floor trying to get her coconut water with her feet. Like she does such a great job. And they did say that she was worried that it was going to be kind of like too caricature-y almost, like too over the top. But she credits Dean Holland with how much like the editing of back and forth and how much they could get away with the editing. So, and I don't think it looked caricature-y at all. I think it was totally Joan and totally, perfect over the top. It wasn't over the top like, oh my God, this is stupid and I hate it. It was just over the top and it's Joan. And she's planking in different positions too. It's like first she's face down, then she's face up, and then she's like just slumped over in the chair. I mean, it's great. I love it very much. And this call is someone asking, because she takes callers on the show. So Ron takes a call, and this person is someone asking who's the best celebrity couple ever, and Ron just hangs up on them. Side note, I can't remember the second couple, but the first couple was K-Stu and R-Pat, which I'm Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, Twilight fans. All right, so Leslie calls Ben and says it's a disaster. Everything's going wrong. This drill is taking forever. Ben tells Leslie the gala is also a disaster, so things are just terrible all around. Oh my gosh. Side note. So she tells Ben to tell the firefighters to go set up at the high school. There's this whole deleted scene with Ben talking to the firefighters, and it's also a whole Donna situation, a Donna moment that we love so much, and I need to play it. It's so good. And then I'll get into who played the firefighter, because you know that if you're new here, but if you're not new here, you guys know that I love to play the actor who got cut. I still think that they're a part of the Parks family and Parks canon. So I just want to give them their due diligence by playing their episode and talking a little bit about them. But first, here is the deleted scene.
Hey, what's up, dudes? Is this the hero tent over here? Must be, because you guys are here. Oh, also, Backdraft. Really holds up. It's a great flick.
We are running a drill here, man, and we don't like backdraft. The arsonist is a fireman. That is not cool.
Okay. Hey, do you think you could move this all over to the high school? We're throwing a big gala here tonight, and the motif we're going for doesn't involve, like corpses.
Listen, Gala boy, we're not going anywhere, so shut up. Why don't you turn around and get the hell out of here before things get a little, hey! Wow! Hey!
What are you doing?
Hello, Gregory.
Hey, D! What's up?
What's up is you're going to listen to my little friend here, and you're going to take your business elsewhere.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, when this drill's over, maybe I could go to this motif thing. We could hang out. Hey, guys, back it up. We're leaving.
Wait, hang on. I have an idea.
Yay! I love that. Oh my gosh. I just think it's really cool. I'm so sad that they cut all the Donna stuff. It's so beautiful. And I love that he's like, hey, D. And oh my gosh, just great. And then you see kind of where Ben has this idea at the end, which again, spoiler alert, but not really, kind of, where, Ben is like, I told the firefighters to stay and gave them free drink tickets and all the things. So I just needed to play that, not only for the guy who played the firefighter, but for Donna, obviously. His name, the firefighter, he was played by Jack Krizmanich. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst. Jack Krizmanich, I want to say. And he's been in True Blood, The X Next Door, a couple different projects. I think he also models, but I didn't see any information on IMDb for how to contact him, and his last acting gig that I saw listed was in 2020. So that does not mean that he's not auditioning, because, times are always hard as an actor as far as what you can book and everything like that. So I hope that he's still acting and doing okay. And if he's not acting, I hope he's doing something he loves. And he was great. That, what a change in demeanor after he sees Donna. Oh my God, love it so much. Well, now Leonard says that the phones need to be deposited into a box because the cell towers have been overloaded / they're down in this simulation. And Leslie is just like fighting to keep her phone to tell Ben how to fix it, but just ends it by saying like, fix it, Ben, fix it. And she has to hand her phone away. Ugh, so sad. And then this is where Donna says she found one chair, got a lead on a second. Great. All right, so now Andy is completing his police test, and Officer Killnose is back. What a fantastic name, which I have a story about later. And he's back, and he's played by the great Will McLaughlin, and I love that they keep bringing him back. Very special, of building this Pawnee community and this lovely, the police force that would all, of course, have the same cops. He was also a cop on The Good Place, A Man on the Inside, which is a new show on Netflix. Ted Danson is in it, new Mike Schur show. It's really sad. Trigger warning. It talks about Alzheimer's, but it also it's just sadder than I thought it would be. I didn't anticipate it, which is great as far as like the emotion of it, and it's really well played and well written. But I just was like, I think it just talks about grief in a way as well. But anyway, he was also on Superstore, all the comedy circles that were in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a ton of stuff. But anyway, Will did actually send me a voice memo, so I'll go ahead and play that, and then we will chat about it. Okay, here it goes.
So on the episode where Andy is trying to become a cop and I'm administering a lie detector test to him, it was election night 2012, which was Obama versus Romney. And everybody was, the cast, the crew, everybody was so focused on election results. It's amazing we even got the scenes done. But because in between each take, they'd say, okay, and cut. And there'd be like, New Hampshire for Obama. And everybody would go crazy. And I remember it was close to the end of shooting that scene. And they said, cut. And then I guess a big state got called for Obama. Somebody said, like, Pennsylvania for Obama. And everybody's going nuts. Everybody's going crazy. And then Chris just turned to me, looked at me dead in the eyes, and he said, why do I feel like I just lost $10,000? So, we're pretty sure everybody was really glued to our performance that night and the performance of the president. So that's my memories from that episode.
Awesome, Will. Thank you so much for sending in that memory. What a distinct, unique memory, because I'm sure that not everybody had the experience of shooting on election night. And yes, I did have to clarify, but yeah, Chris Pratt was sad / upset that Obama was winning, which is unfortunate. And we kind of sort of talked about something that we have seen, I think, in this day and age, but as far as what he supports politically, but whatever, we're not going to talk about that at this moment. I don't feel like it because we already know it. Okay, we already know it. But I do want to talk about, and I've also talked about it at length, I feel, on this podcast, how I feel and everything. So, anyhow, I'm glad Obama won. I'll say it. I don't care. Anyhow, okay, but I did want to talk about the rest of Will's email because I asked him, our obvious questions / that I ask all actors that have been in the show as far as how he got his job on Parks and all these kinds of things and, any other memories. And I'm just going to read this email because I think it's so lovely and well written, honestly, Will. So thank you for sending this. But he says, in terms of getting the job, I was originally called in to audition to be a florist on a talk show. Didn't get it, but my friend and Conan writer Kevin Dorff got it. Fortunately, I didn't get it because that scene was cut and only viewable in DVD extras. I think the real reason I got the job initially was my good friend Katie Dippold was a writer on the show. Side note, you guys, this was not in the email, but I'm just telling the listener. Katie Dippold is the one who also plays the person who's afraid of who also sees Dr. Nygaard, but is afraid of animals, but she's interviewing for the animal control department because Dr. Richard Nygaard told her to do things that she's scared of. And she's like, but please just don't hire me. That's Katie Dippold, and she was a huge writer on the show. So that's awesome. You were friends. Anyway, to continue the email, he goes on to say, we were on a UCB Herald team called Police Chief Rumble. She wrote an episode where there was some sort of town pizza party for cops at a bar. And listeners, you guys know this as the one where Ben gets really strange and weird with Chief Trumbull. And it's his retirement scene or whatever. And the main scene, he goes on to say, the main scene I was in was a funny scene where there were 4 cops and we all copied what the police chief did. And she named that character Police Chief Trumbull, by the way. Also, Amy Poehler, friend and founder of UCB Theater, was making sure I got good camera time. But I think the real reason I kept coming back happened during prop selection. We were all in holding waiting to get called to set. I put the wrong syllable, I feel, on that sentence. We were all in holding, waiting to get called to set. The prop master came by with a bunch of name badges for us cops to select for our characters. Like Excalibur gleaming in the stone, I saw a nameplate that read Killnose. Grabbed it immediately. What a fantastic last name. All caps fantastic. Little did I know, and I did not know him, show creator Michael Schur has a love of crazy last names and an extreme fear of cops. So all I had to do was not mess up royally, and I was in his comedic wheelhouse. So they kept bringing me back. I have also played Officer Prawn Mandler. I didn't know that was the name. On 3 different Michael Schur shows. He's kind of become my Medici. That's so lovely. I'm so excited that you sent that, Will. That is such good backstory and fun information to know that I forgot, of course, that a name plate / name badge would be for the cops. So I'm so glad you chose that and that you kept coming back and that you got the perfect role for you and you were denied that first role. It was just like in the stars. And yes, I have seen that you've played many a cop on Mike Schur shows, and I mentioned it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Good Place, all that kind of stuff. So I'm so glad that you were able to send that voice memo in and talk to us a little bit about your casting and all that fun story. And yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time as far as Mike Schur's creation of last names. It's so funny. And so funny that he's also scared of cops. So yeah, I'm glad that they called you back and that it ended up being the gift that keeps on giving because you come back in the last season as well and next season. So it's lovely. You have at least one episode and that's really in each season. And that's really cool that Amy Poehler was like, hey, I'm going to make sure you get good screen time, So thanks so much again for sending that. We so appreciate it. And thank you, Will. Well, hopefully I'll catch up with you next time on the next episode that you're in. Okay, moving on. Oh dear, this is such a funny moment, but it's also so bittersweet because you know that he can do this. It's just he got in his head kind of, and Andy totally botches the personality exam. It's a bad start. He doesn't know if he should say yes to his name because his real name is Andrew, I think. Also, I love that he says I think, like he's not even sure what his real name is. No, and then he says he'd let a kid hold a gun because it was his dream when he was younger, and his intentions are really good, but those are the wrong answers. And what a great joke here, though. This is probably my favorite part of it, where he's like, you are pulling over someone for speeding or something, and then you find out that it's your dad. Like, how do you react? Obviously trying to provoke, like, do you give your dad special treatment, or do you still, like, give him a ticket because he broke the law? And I just love his answer is like, well, first I'd be like, Dad, you're alive? Which I do think that we didn't know that about Andy's parents or Andy's dad. So that is a new tidbit, but oh my gosh. Now back at Pawnee today, Jim Kaepernick is taking Joan's pulse, I feel. And that's really hilarious to just like, keep it going. And he says they'd all be fired if Joan found out that they took her off air. So just keep going. Totally fine. Just keep taking calls. It'll be great. The next call is someone asking what's wrong with Joan, and Ron tells the truth. She has a bad hangover that she's pretending is allergies, and he's like, oh man, like, is she going to be okay? And Ron's like, I wouldn't know, basically insinuating that he's never had a hangover because every time he's had too much whiskey, he says, I cook myself a flank steak, pan fry in salted butter, eat that, put on a pair of wet socks, and go to sleep. Like, what? Anyway, then back at the simulation, Chris Traeger has died, obviously, in the drill, which is so sad. But it is really funny to watch him hold up his little placard and be like, I'm dead. And then we learned that Leonard is really putting them through the ringer because Jam asked him to. He said to give them everything they got and specifically requested it to be today because of the gala. And like, this is the day of all days to go through this drill on purpose. And Jam is totally ruining it. And then he holds up a sign that says, your move, to Leslie. And then Leslie says, in order to get out of there, they have to destroy the entire town. And I do feel like this is a tactic that's used in many, well, not many, but quite a few TV shows that I've seen, like in 30 Rock when they're talking about Jack, if you watch that, Jack trying to tank NBC so that he can kind of like start anew. You know what I mean? So anyway, Leslie gets to work on destroying the entire town. She says to flush all the vaccines down the toilet. She tells Chief Fugelberg to find all the affected birds and perform CPR. And then we're hit with a tornado quake. She opens up the other, envelopes with emergencies. And so now they have avian flu, tornado, and an earthquake. And they are all going to die, essentially, in the drill. Chief Fugelberg is played by Romaine Johnson, and he's been in Reservation Dogs, 911 Lone Star, The Neighborhood, NCIS. So many great credits. He did a great job. Loved him. Great headshots, too, on his IMDb. I think those are really well done. And he has a few upcoming projects, which is exciting to see, so break a leg on those. And back on Pawnee today, Ron is taking questions, and Joan isn't even there now. And I don't know what's in her chair. If you guys will notice, in her chair, it looks like maybe a headband or something. I don't really know. But the chair is empty, and she's on the ground, fully on the ground. They pan out, because at first you just don't see her, and then they pan the camera out, and she's just on the ground on her belly. The next caller asks about repairing a table. There's scratches because the terrier that she has, the terrier dog that she has scratched her table, and Ron says to rub a walnut into it, and that will mask the scratches. And I did look it up, and that does work. I'll get into that in a second, but I do have to point out that I love Ron. I really love you, Ron, but don't tell people to ditch their terrier and that cats are pointless. Okay? I do not agree. And you don't have to get a dog or that's under 50 pounds or a cat, but don't tell other people. Don't yuck their yum. Okay? Okay. And I say this because I'm defensive a tiny bit because I have 2 cats and I love them and they're perfect. Okay? All right. Moving on to that, or not moving on, but circling back to that walnut thing, I did the fact checking, and yes, rubbing a walnut on wood furniture can actually work to somewhat camouflage light scratches and blemishes on the surface, as the natural oils from the walnut fill in the scratch and slightly darken the area, making it less noticeable. And this trick is particularly effective on darker wood finishes, so just be aware of that. And be aware that it does have to be the meat of the walnut. It's not the walnut shell. Okay, it's the actual walnut. The oils released from the walnut when rubbed against the scratch can slightly stain the wood, which essentially fills the groove of the scratch and blends it in with the surrounding area. So, that's really fascinating. Really cool. Joe Mandy said they spent like hours on YouTube, or at least 1 hour on YouTube, kind of looking at this in real time to see if it actually worked, which is great. And then this is, again, where we get to the positions that they put Joan in, and they're so funny. And, yeah, it does remind me of the planking also on The Office, like when they were planking on, like, curbs outside and in the bathroom stalls and all these things. And now, like I said, she's lying over 2 chairs, face up, face down, slumped, all these things. Ron has an answer that says Grapes of Wrath, chocolate chip ice cream, and Johnny Cash. I do wonder what that question was. I have no idea. Probably just like favorites or of something. I love this line. It's awful and sad, but it's really funny to me. Your house isn't haunted. You're lonely. He also has one where he explains how to rechain a chainsaw and says a kid could do it. Just put him on the phone. I can tell him how to do it. I'm pretty positive that was a deleted scene. But it's amazing. Also, there's this very sweet deleted scene that I'm going to play. It almost makes up for the cat thing, or the dog's under 50 pounds. But there's a deleted scene with Ron answering a very sincere question. I love it so much. I'm going to play it for you.
My wife asked me if the dress she has on makes her look fat. What do I say? She's waiting on an answer in the other room.
In my experience, when a woman asks a question like that, she's feeling insecure for some other reason. Maybe you shouldn't say anything to her and just put your hand on the side of her face, tell her that you love her and that she's the greatest woman you've ever met. Also, in my opinion, most women in this world are vastly too skinny.
Thanks. You're the best, Joni.
He does say Joni, but still, oh my God, thank you so much. That's Ron. That's very sweet and delightful, and so nice. Very special. Okay. Ron says he's only seen 2 movies, and which is The Bridge on the River Kwai, and I can't remember what the other one is, but he's also answering a question. And while he's saying that, Joan is trying to get the coconut water with her feet while he's talking. We talked about that a little bit before. I feel like that good morning, like when he looks down at her after she moves around the coconut water, when he's like, oh, good morning. That seems improvised. It could have been scripted, but it seemed like he would have, just randomly said that. So now back at the simulation, everyone in Pawnee is dead. So we have effectively destroyed the town, and now we can go. I love Leslie's response when Leonard hands her the piece of paper that everyone has died and they failed and everything. And she's like, bummer, whatever. And then they're at, I think it's Anne's house when Jerry said, because that's like right next to the lot. And Jerry says he got all the way to Muncie before they realized it was a drill. And no one had his cell number, so they couldn't contact him or tell him. Oh, dear me. Yikes. At least he got to go to Muncie. He likes Muncie. But still. And everyone looks so beautiful. Everyone's in their, black tie attire. But Leslie is hardcore spiraling. Like, why is everyone just standing around? Status report. No, we don't have time for a status report. We're going to have to postpone the gala. I destroyed the entire town for nothing. And Ben is very calm, as he normally is. And also, side note, everyone is already dressed and ready to go, Leslie. Like, we're not going to cancel / not go to the gala. Like, we're done here. You know what I mean? We're ready to go. But Ben really grounds her and says, let's go look at it. Hello. And the gala looks beautiful. The wide shot of the tent, all of the food trucks. It's so beautiful. And I just love that her team really took care of her, and her soon-to-be husband took care of her and her mind. And it's just so lovely. And she took care of herself in a way because she got out in time to see it, I'm sure it would have gone on much longer if that had been the case. And Tom really did have a genius moment because the fast food restaurants are the food that he got for the gala. They donated because they have the most to lose as far as competition, so that's great. And Ron actually really enjoyed going on TV. He found it to be a rewarding day. He got to help some people, talk to some people about his interests, and like I said before, Ben gave the people in the simulation, the fire trucks and the victims and all that stuff, 2 free drink tickets to stay, which is a great idea. And then they're all walking towards the gala, and Leslie's like, way to dress up, Jerry, or thanks for dressing up, Jerry, like sarcastically. And I do love Jerry's look. Jim O'Hare did a great job, but a part of me is also like, Leslie, don't put him down. You're already there. Just leave it. But whatever. Chris is now talking to Chief Fugelberg, and the chief lets Chris know that Andy failed the personality examination, but totally nailed the written test. Like, he got a perfect score. First guy in history to do it. Are you kidding me? First guy in history to do it, which is so sad and heartbreaking and just shows how much he studied, how much he cared about this. I'm sure it was his first perfect score ever, and so it's really bittersweet because he did kind of get in his head, I feel, with the personality exam and didn't really know how to answer these questions, and it's just really sad that he he has the skill set, and it shows that when he wants something and is passionate about something, he can get it. So we'll find something for him, but it's a good way to end, I guess, this little character story moment of the police, the police vibes for him, police career for him. But it's so sad. It's still sad. He's doing an official police wrist lock. And he doesn't understand that people have 2 hands because he's trying to do the police wrist lock on April on one hand and says, try to hit me. And she hits him with the other hand both times. That's really funny. So Leslie makes an announcement that they have reached their fundraising goal, $50,000. Are you kidding me? That is insane and so wonderful. I mean, in one episode, we are at that point now in the show where they can get shit done. They're all on the same team. They have their ideas. They know what to do. They're working together. Leslie wasn't even there for most of it. The Parks team really pulled it together and really showed up for her. And she thanks her team for that. And she says, no one achieves anything alone. We all need help, basically. And it was so lovely. And then the Mouse Rat Band, why did I write that? Mouse Rat comes on and plays the pit, but they changed it to the park because it's no longer a pit, but it's going to be a park. All the Mouse Rat members are there except for one, and I will go on to tell you this, because I got an email from Andrew Burlinson, a.k.a. Burly, and he told us a story a long time ago thinking that it was about another episode, but it was about this one, so I'm just going to read this email. Thanks for your note. Totally brightened my day. It's so awesome that you're talking to Michael. Oh, we were talking to Michael a long time ago. He was the DP. for a couple seasons. Anyway, here's a little trivia that will totally blow your mind. I actually wasn't in that episode. It was a Burly body double. I'm not kidding. In an absolutely insane coincidence, I was getting married in real life on the day they were shooting Ben and Leslie's wedding, so I wasn't available. I was so bummed out to miss the Pawnee wedding of the year, but my wedding was amazing, so hey, no sadness there. They had to get a different guy and basically shoot it so that his face wasn't really in the shots. And if you zoom out in the aired version, and by zoom out, if you watch the entire thing, they have a moment where they do zoom out a little bit and you see some of his face. But most of the shots are, in fact, only showing this guy's arm or side or his face is turned or whatever it is. So that wasn't Burly in Mouse Rat for Ben and Leslie's wedding, which is so wild. The guy who played the body double is named Michael Eisenstein. And if you look again, like I said, they do show his full face like one time. But it's very quick and you wouldn't really notice it. And I think that the body double they got does sort of look like Burly as far as the dark hair and the stature and all that. The deleted scenes, there is a deleted scene that shows him like way more. You can see his face a little bit more. So I know that's why they cut it, but it's really lovely. And I will say the deleted scene that they showed that they kind of have his face more in it, is where they play the full song of the pit or the park, but they change the lyrics and it's so cute. The song continues, the park, we will build it, the park might not be safe after dark. There might be lots of sharks. You should probably learn martial arts. I think it's perfect. But the rest of the band is there. Alan Yang, Mark Rivers. Anyhow, so Anne shows Leonard why Leslie tanked the drill, and that's so nice of her to do that. She didn't have to do that, but she shows Leonard, like, this is why that this all went down today. Any other time, she would have nailed it. And Leonard says, okay, maybe I'll make my way back here in a month to redo the test, and that's really lovely, too. And like I said, I'm guessing this is the first year that she was the emergency czar because I just don't understand how they could have failed 12 years in a row with her as the leader. And then Anne randomly asks Leonard about being a sperm donor, and then we learn that he's impotent, and I don't know, it wasn't for me. That joke wasn't for me. I don't like Anne talking randomly to strangers about being a sperm donor, but to each their own. She needs to do what she needs to do. Leslie says she wants to be married tonight, and Ben has the idea to do it tonight. Like, Leslie, let's get married tonight. And then we have it as to be continued, and it's so lovely. And it is perfect. She said she wanted to invite the entire town. They have, black tie. They have enough food. They have enough drinks. They have the entertainment. They have it all. So let's just do it. And it's lovely. And I think that's one of our first to be continued, maybe. I don't know, but it's a great choice. So the tag is all of the sketches that Leslie did for the emergency drill, which we love. Winifred is the news reporter. The research lady is Isabella. She has different accents for them all. We already talked about this. The main reason I am talking mostly about this is because there's a deleted scene where she plays Anne, and she has a brunette wig with her little blonde tips and everything. Oh my gosh, it's so lovely. I have to play the deleted scene for you. Hang on.
Local citizen Ann Perkins to see how she's doing. Anne?
Thanks, Isabella. I'm Ann Perkins. I'm a nurse, I'm a public health official, and I'm a super fox knockout. In fact, a lot of people say the earthquake was caused by my riveting sexuality. I mean, no man can resist me. But you should find a sturdy shelter and fill your bathtub up with drinking water.
Thank you so much, everyone. From all of us here.
I love that so much. And then also, this is her as Anne. If you can see that, I'll post that picture on our stories, but she has like her dark hair and she's like giving kind of like a sexy smirk to the camera as well, which I love. And it's so darling. And then I love that Leslie does her own news music and her name is Jessica Rabbit instead of Jessica Rabbit. I love all those names. And like we talked about too, I'm sure Mike Schur came up with most of those because if you go on IMDb and like scroll down to the bottom where the guest stars are, you just see all these incredible names that Mike Schur has come up with. That was one of his like weird favorite things to do, which we love now, Herman Larpus and what I'm saying? Like all those names are so amazing and cool. I liked the other one was, oh my gosh, in the last episode, the last name was Koi Pond, which was great. That was the guy that was scared and of the new park being built. So anyhow, yeah, that was emergency response, which is a great lead in to Ben and Leslie's wedding, and we'll get to see Jam being a little bit more of a dickhead, but we'll talk about it and we'll get through it. I hope everyone has a lovely 2025, a start to the 2025. I hope you're just like taking it in as much as you can and not, putting too much pressure on yourself to be productive or whatever. Just try to be happy, I guess, is all I'm trying to say. And if you're in the snowstorms or any kind of storms, just like best of luck to you. We're praying for you. We're wishing for you. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, if you want me to reach out to anyone else. But we look forward to seeing you next week, and we look forward to all the voice memos that we're going to get. And I'm sorry I didn't give enough time to them to get back to us. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. Can't wait to see you next time, and talk to you soon. Okay, bye, everybody.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.